Hello everybody and welcome back to some EU4. This video is going to be a little bit more unique, and I think it's something that I want to do going forward with all of my completed campaigns, is just sort of do a timeline and maybe a little bit of a final thoughts. But let's get the timeline going here. This is the first campaign that I ever did on Twitch. Not even 2 months ago from the time uploading this video. And we are playing as Brandenburg because at this point I had not played the game in nearly 2 years. In fact, there was a whole slew of DLCs that I was using for the first time. Mandate of Heaven, Rights of Man, a Cradle of Civilization. Those 3 major DLCs for sure, probably even another one as well. So it had been a minute since I had played. So there's a nice little event now for Brandenburg. Maybe it's always been there. You know, get new mark here. Out of the bat, we went to war with Pomerania was the first little bit here. We did a little bit. The funny thing is, as we notice, Poland is disappearing on their own. We did very little to disrupt Poland. Here's the funny thing. We take the Teutonic Order, sort of the original Teutonic Order, and then the little scraps that are left actually start destroying what's left of Poland. Needless to say, there was not a... I think at one point there was the personal union Poland had over Lithuania, but it broke somehow. Bohemia actually ended up being a monster this game. Bohemia, it was either us or Bohemia that was sort of getting the 1524 there, getting the Prussia tag. It was either Bohemia or us that was getting the HRE. It was kind of a battle back and forth. We actually lost the emperorship over the HRE when we decided to go Protestant. So we did go Protestant this game, which is cool because I don't think I've ever done a campaign as a Protestant nation, actually, believe it or not. And one thing that is kind of a takeaway from this is I expanded super slowly, which, you know, is kind of fun because Prussia, you know, the smaller you are, the more militaristic you can be, and you get some benefits for that. Prussia was a lot of fun. This campaign was a lot of fun. At this point, Poland's been our vassal now for a little bit here. So we're thinking, and this ended up being a massive mistake. Poland had just tons of rebel issues. It ended up being kind of a pain trying to get Poland big so that we could get rid of them. I can't even remember all the little nitty-gritty, but Poland, I just remember regretting vassalizing them instead of just taking their land. But just an insane amount of border gore over here. I mean, we're getting just strange little nations will start popping up here as well. But Bohemia actually... They don't look too big right now, but they really were pretty intimidating. I mean, they do have Vienna, so they actually came down and took a bit of Austria here. And of course, they reached out a little bit from up here. And I think at this point, they've looked like shrunken down a little bit from what they were a few decades ago. But okay, it's taken us about to this point here, about 1620 or so, to really kind of like stretch our legs a little bit here and do a little bit of conquering. The Ottomans are doing Ottoman things. The Timurids are looking nice. Timurids were one of the great powers for a long, long time. In fact, they might have remained that way. At this point, we have Finland as a new vassal. We just took a bite out of Bohemia here. Russia's getting quite large. France is kind of coming up into the Netherlands here as well. I can't remember at what point we lost the emperorship, like, after we did win the League War. That's right. The League War was super intense. It was us and Bohemia against, I think, like France, Ottomans, and Russia. It was pretty nuts. I can't even remember how it all. I don't even know if we had Bohemia. It might have been Austria. It was insane. We barely won it in order to make Protestants the true religion of the Holy Roman Empire. We have Nitra as a vassal here at this point. Getting Finland to be bigger. But yeah, once we were able to do that, we were pretty much the emperor going forward until a weird point where we just didn't care anymore. Everybody just hated us and we just didn't care, with the goal to eventually disband it. So I think we ended up disbanding the HRE in a large war. But one of the cool things is something's going to happen here. Oh, it already happened. So around 1700, well, we'll leave that surprise to the end. So And some of the last things we're going to do here is we just beat up the Ottomans a bunch, and we're going to beat up France here in a second. Finished our integrating Finland and Nitra. We beat up France, we beat up the Ottomans. Why didn't we beat up Russia more? Well, funny thing happened in the 1700s. If we get out of this timeline here, we can take a look at that. Yeah, so Russia actually is under a personal union with us, which is pretty interesting. I mean, they're not a huge behemoth, but they're not small. And they're incredibly loyal. In fact, I think their loyalty right now is at 0%. And the only reason why it was higher than that is because we actually did force them to switch to our religion. They're having a real hard time actually converting stuff over, but they're slowly but surely they're doing it. But yeah, it was funny because in the year 1700, Galicia down here, Galicia von High whatever, Galicia Volhynia. Okay, that red nation that popped up down here, right? It's one of the releasable nations. There was a situation like 1700 where Russia didn't have any air or whatever, and their leader died, and Galicia actually adopted Russia in a personal union. For whatever reason, we'd never allied with Russia. We never had a royal marriage with Russia, but for whatever reason, it triggered some sort of succession war for Russia. Us versus this tiny little nation of Galicia, you know, and it actually, I was shocked. The whole time I was like, what? Like, I didn't even know what was going on. So we ended up winning the war. Russia is our loyal subject right now, which is pretty cool. Talking to people in the Twitch chat, it sounded like people were saying that world conquest was potentially on the table if I knew how to do such a thing. We have Las Guiana here, named after someone in the Twitch community, but I don't know why. I think we took this from France in that one of the wars against France. I don't know why we did this. I don't know why we came down here and beat up parts of Mexico and formed German Mexico, because we definitely don't have exploration ideas. If we look at our ideas here, we ended up going diplomatic first, into religious, again playing off sort of the whole like, oh, we're gonna go Protestant, we'd need to convert our lands to Protestant, and so on and so forth. This really didn't help us that much in the end. Religious ideas, I think, they're not quite as good as they used to be, but it was kind of nice having the Deus Vult CB, I guess. Prussia, of course, like, we still have the Prussian ideas, just some, 20%. I mean, look at that, 20%. 20% infantry combat ability, 20% more morale, 5% discipline, minus 10% aggressive expansion. Yeah, an army tradition up the wazoo. I mean, Prussia is just a really, really, really fun nation. Then, of course, we formed Germany at some point. What was it, like 1650? We ended up forming Germany, an early Reich. Knocked out a couple of very basic, very simple achievements. What is our discipline at? It's only 127 right now, but I think at one point we had it up to like 130, 135. But ideas, we ended up going basically just a bunch of offensive or military ideas after that point, and then we swung into influence as we were trying to integrate a couple of vassals. The funny thing, I was checking this out, but we, like, you know, would we be able to actually integrate Russia? Yeah, we would. In fact, it wouldn't even take us 40 years to fully integrate them at this point. So we could make them, we could easily spend the next, 17 years making them bigger even, and then integrate them probably before 1821. So yeah, I mean, I think from what people were saying, the world conquest were possibly on the table, especially considering how powerful our military is, how powerful our economy is, how powerful our military is. I mean, we were stack wiping the French troops. We were stack wiping 100,000 stacks of Ottomans, just like it was nothing. We're just cutting through everything. It was amazing. And the funny thing is, we didn't even really truly build the Space Marines, right? We never built we never did innovation into the extra 20% combat infantry combat ability, I mean, which would have been just crazy. I've taken that in the subsequent campaigns. I've gone for that, and it's been a lot of fun. It's been a lot of fun getting that extra combat ability for the infantry. So yeah, it was a really fun campaign though. It was a nice one to get back into the groove. Brandenburg was a lot of fun. I haven't played too many campaigns in the HRE, but it's always a slow start, but it's always an interesting one. It's always very dynamic. You're looking for those little opportunities, and I'm always impressed by how fast the game ramps up in the end, right? How fast we got going, because if you looked at it, I mean, heck, by 1680, we didn't have that much land, and then all of a sudden it was just like big bite here, big bite here, big bite here and here, and you know, finish this off, and boom, we got Russia as a PU, and here we go, you know, we're this giant nation now. What do we got? 4,000 development, I think? 4,000 development. In fact, if we go to the Great Powers, are we going to see Russia here? No. We probably can't see Russia because they're a subject. I mean, look, Russia's got 1,000 development. Russia's the fourth, you know, developed country in the world. Not, you know, based on density, of course, but just in total. So, and there are PU, so we end up having about 5,000 development there. Crazy. Great powers, I mean, Ottomans are literally, there's nothing to us. France, way down here, it's just interesting. The Mughals actually ended up forming. Timurids had a great game. Timurids had a great game. Except for this kind of makes me wonder why, like, what's going on here? Like, why are the Timurids just grabbing random provinces throughout India like that? It's crazy. Crazy, but yeah, they had a good game. Ming actually, it's funny, Ming actually just kind of exploded at some point. I don't even know when that happened, but I mean, you know, we didn't do anything over here. Russia didn't really do anything over here. Ming just kind of blew up, which is funny because, yeah, right when it seems like when you want Ming to blow up, they don't, and when you don't care if they do or don't, they do. But all right, everybody, I just wanted to kind of do this and record this this playthrough here. It was a fun warm-up campaign to getting back into the groove of things. It wasn't supposed to be like a world record race or an amazing feat or anything, but it was a lot of fun. And I'm happy with the Germany that we formed. Really clean borders. You know, we could have kept playing this game, cleaned it up. You know, in the next 80 years, we could have easily taken over all of Europe. You know, integrated Russia, made this just like a beautiful Germany. But you know, I think I'm definitely satisfied with this. It was a good run. Thank you so much, everybody, for watching, and I will see you guys in the next one.